number based on the different representation of number of bits. So when you refer to this Physics workshop example question, basically you need to refer to the question 1 to let me have a look, maybe to 16 here. But you don't need to worry about the diagram, because the quiz will not tell you to draw a diagram in the quiz exam. And all you need to do about the HDL part is they will provide you with a diagram, and you got multiple choice based on the code. If you think this code is correct, then you click it and you choose that. I will explain the ALU for all of you just in 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, and so Wen Han, so you asked, could we use the previous file? What do you mean? You mean which one? Which file do you mean? And HDL, of course you can, but in your quiz exam, you don't need to use write code. Oh, okay. Yes, you can. In your project, you can, for example, in your project 4, you can just use the AND HDL. Yeah. Better. So there is a request about explain how better. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the ALU, which you guys cares most. Okay. But I need to write the answer in this chat box so we can get a little interaction, and I can make sure all of you that totally understand what we are talking about. What equipment can we use for the exam next week? Okay, so for the next exam, you just use your own laptop or your own computer, because you are an offshore student, and I will set up breakout room for you guys individually, and I will jump into the breakout room and supervise every of you in turns. So if you still feel confused about how did this supervised, no, it's not. We don't record. We don't, there is no need for you to record the whole process. So don't worry about that. If some of you still feel confused about how this supervised quiz goes through, I would like to. Of course not. You have 40 students. If every breakout room with a tutor, we need to provide 40 tutor. Just me watching you in turns. So there is I think I answered one question here. Yeah. So you can have a look at this, because I think a guy asked about how this going through. So I answer this. For example, all of you should turn on your camera, turn on your mic and screen sharing in the breakout room all the time. So I will jump in and check your student ID card. If you don't have a student ID card, you can provide the passport or any other ID, any other IDs. And this is not an option for you because you are using your own laptop. This is just an option for some face-to-face students. So don't worry about the Okta. And Ren Yuan asked, can I use the web? No. So in the quiz exam, you cannot use any calculator. You cannot use paper. You cannot use pencil. It means you can only visit the quiz web page. Okay. But some of you may be, well, I don't know the English vocabulary, cannot use some Google Translate. Later, yes, you can, just for this very specific condition. So far, so good. No calculators, no notepad, no pencil, no pen. It means you cannot use the other tools to calculate your answers, and you cannot write anything down on your paper. So I don't know if you are talking about the quiz in week 4. If it is, I just want to answer that there is no files or coding things. So you don't need to worry about the SVN or something else. But if you are just talking about your project in the workshop, you can use the files in SVN, but just let me show you. If you are in the workshop, for example, if you are in the project 4, you download the zip file and you make install. I think you can directly use the files in the directory in project 4. So in this way, you can use that. And quick answer to Ren Yuan. So what about the larger calculation? Okay, in this case, I will talk about it later. You don't need to calculate it. Sometimes there's some trick for that. You will get the tips from me. Okay. So before we jump into the ALU part, is there any question? I'm going to do this part, but before that, so Wenhan said, on our own laptop, we will save the workshop in our computer. What do you mean? So now I would like to ask you, do you talk about the quiz exam related to week 4? All quizzes. But when you talk about the quizzes, quizzes and project files, they are different. I don't know what you are talking about. If it is related to quiz, do not worry about this, because have you attended the quiz exam in week 3? Wenhan, Have you not? Okay, so that's why I thought maybe you didn't know what questions will show up in the quiz. So, okay, so basically, if you are just talking about, anyway, if you are just talking about the quiz, okay, don't worry about this part because the quiz, you just like some multiple, there are some multiple choice for you to just select different piece of code. You don't need to write the code here and use the HDL from SVN. Not in that way. Okay. So for example, let me give you some sense about that. So for example, in a quiz, they will provide you like and or a no or something else. They will provide you a diagram, and there are quite a lot of piece of code, and you need to choose one or multiple of them based on the diagram. So it's just about the multiple choice for the HDL part. So it means you don't need to write some code, you use HDL file and in the startup file. It's not like that thing. So don't worry about this, okay? Oh, finally, okay, so before we jump ALU part, is there any question? So let's move on, okay? Now, so I think we have talked about it in the last week, but in this week, because some of you still didn't understand and have some confusion in the unsupervised quiz in week 3. So we're going to talk about it now. And if you have any question, please feel free to type in something in the chat box or just turn on your mic and just say something. It's all right. And so now I would like you to type in some answers here and we will do it together. Okay. So if x equals 0.
Sorry, tutor.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, can I record this workshop because I want to review it maybe on the Saturday? Can I record it?
Actually, for this CS workshop, there is no need to record. And I will write all the answers here. If you want to like have a check, you can just take the picture or take a photo by your own phone. Okay,
got it. Thank you.
No worries. So if x equals 0, just type in the answer in the chat box. Yes. And if ny equals 0, I got a wrong answer here. Yes. Okay, so it's x. So because it's due x2 equals x1, but x1 equals x, so we put x here. Okay. And x1 is not a valid symbol here. There is no x1, right? So you cannot input x1 here. Okay, cool. So let's move on. Say y equals this one, because say y equals this one, I choose this one. So how can I write here? Can I input here? Yes, 0. And n1 equals 1. This will be a tricky one. Mhm. Yeah, I got a correct answer here now. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So the right answer is -1. But before that, I would like to explain it a little bit. Now, so ny equals 1. Basically, my y2 equals negative y1, right? And my y1 is equal to 0, so it seems my y2 equals to -0. So far so good. So far so good. Any question so far? No? Okay, let's move on. And can I write this one here? Can I input just like -0 here? Can you give me some response here? Okay, because this symbol, firstly, this symbol is not valid among them. This is the first reason. Secondly, this formula, this expression can be simplified. So let's move on. When we talk about this 0, because we are using the x, y, and output here, it's a 16 bits here. Remember that because we will review this part, 16 bits here. So 0 here means there are 16 bits of 0. Okay, if I change this decimal number into a binary number, it's a 16 bits of 0. It means every bit of this binary number is 0. Make sense? If you get it, then you type in something. If you didn't if you haven't typed in anything, I was wondering maybe some of you still confused. Okay. So let's move on. Now, my 0 equals to, because this is a decimal number 0, this is a binary number. So always have a sense between the decimal and the binary number, because sometimes we need to have a transformation. Okay. Now, we use negative operation here. So negative means I will flip every single bit. So I flip this single bit. It means all of the bits have been flipped into 1. So when you -0, you will get this binary number. Is there any question here? No question or feel confused? If you still feel confused, you can just type in, say, can you repeat that again? If there is no message here, I would think all of you get it. Okay. So let's move on. And because I cannot input the sequence of my binary number here, I cannot input like this way. So I still need to have a change. Did you remember that I told you last week we use choose complement mechanism in this course, in this CS course? Different course have different mechanism, but for this CS course, we use choose complement. So every single bit, if equals to 1, my final decimal number is equal to -1. If you don't know why this can lead to this number, you definitely need to have a look at the choose complement, okay? So that's why here we have a -1 here. So now I'm moving on, and if f equals to 1, so what can I input here? Yes. And if NO equal to 0, what's the output here? Cool. So for this part, what we are doing is try to figure out what the formula of the ALU, because for some ALU, they're just doing like x plus 1 or x plus y or x minus 1 or x. So for this ALU, the formula for this ALU is just x minus 1. So for this part, is that clear? So now we are moving to the part B, the second part. The second part is you put some specific value in x and y, and you will put out the result, let's say. And you analyze this result and to see if it is a 0 or if it is a negative number. So for this case, if x equals 1, y equals 2, so can you tell me my output equals what? Not this output, just tell me the result. Just tell me the result. For this case, can you tell me the result? Because the formula for this ALU is just x plus x minus 1. Now x equals 1. So my output is equal to what? My expression of this out is equal to x minus 1. Now you put x. So my output equals what? My result, yes, 0. So now we are going to analyze this result. You ask yourself, is this result a 0? Is it a 0? Yes. So yes means true, and true means 1. So you input 1 here. Because you cannot write 2 here, you can only write 0, 1, x, y. So you put 1 here. Make sense? So Ernest, which part you didn't get? You haven't catch that. Can you point out? I will explain it again. So this part clear? Is that clear? So this part, is that clear? Okay, so let's move to this part again. Okay, I know some of you maybe get how to do it, but just let me do it again. I really would like all of you can understand this part because ARU will appear in the quiz exam in week 4, week 8, week 12. So be sure you cannot lose any mark of this one. So let's do it again. So Ernest, before that, I would like to repeat this again and try to explain this one. Zero just means is the result zero. NG means is the result a negative number. Negative. So for this part, my output is x minus 1. So it's the expression or formula of my ALU for this ALU. Make sense? And now, here, now, in this case, x equals to 1, y equals to 2. So you put x, y in this expression, in this equation. And the answer is, because there is no need to care about the y, so the answer is 0. It means the output of this ALU, the result. Yes, Yuan Chen, yes. So the output of this result in this case is a 0. Yes. And this flag means it's a yes or no question. Is the result. Is the result. Let's say is the result. A 0 is the result. A 0. You just answer to yourself. Yes, it is. Yes means true. True means 1. I will talk about this one later because maybe some of you will feel confused why true here is a 1, true here is a minus 1. It's different, okay? So in this condition, in this way, we can only write 0, 1. We can't write true or false. So why we write a 1 here? And Ernest, makes sense now?
Hello, tutor. Hello.
Yeah, say something.
Yeah. So I am still a little bit confused why you didn't use the y equal to 2 because for our formula here, it's only related to x, you know? So if y equals 100, 1000, doesn't matter because my formula, my expression, my equation is just equals to x
minus
Oh, okay.
1. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so now let me say to recap, cos x equals 1, out equals 0. So 0. I will repeat my conclusion again. If, to recap, because my output equals 0, based on this equation here, I put x equals 1 here, and my output is 0. And 0 is a 0. For this question, for this flag here, it's just like a question. You ask yourself, is the output a 0 number? Yes, it is. So, yes, true. Okay, so let's move on. I just want all of you give me the answer here because they are same. They are same. So my output is a 0. So is the output a negative number? Is it a negative number? No. False. 0. But you can only write 0 here because false is not valid here. Okay, so when you parsing or when you processing the ALU, please focus on this note. It is really important because some students would write true or false, but there is no, it's not reasonable to write true or false here because they are invalid. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about this part for you. Can anyone tell me why here my true equals to 0? Here my true equals to -1. I just say -1. Why? Here my true equal to -1. Can someone tell me? Yeah. Any other answers? Or if you feel confused about this, you can input something. Yep, 16 bits. Yep. Okay, so let me explain this a little bit. So for this part, for this X, Y, or out, because firstly, just 2 reasons. Firstly, it's 16 bits. Secondly, we are using 2's complement here. So for example, my true in this condition is equals to 16 bits 1. Make sense? And when I transfer this 16 bits once, I'm using 2's complement. And the decimal number, so this -1 is a decimal number, will become -1. Even if it's 8 bits, same, because we are talking about multiple bits. Okay, multiple bits. So for this course, our ALU always 16 bits. So we just remember that. It's all right. It's just because it's multiple bits and we use 2's complement mechanism. And if every bit equals to 1, my decimal number is -1. Make sense? And for this there and G, can you see that? There is no 16 bits. Of course, these two signals, they are just 1 bit as well, but we don't need to care too much about that one. So we just care about these two. This is just 1 bit signal. Just 1 bit signal. So 2, it's just 1. This one is a binary one, binary number 1. This one is a decimal number 1. They are different. And false, they are same, because false is a 1 bit 0. For this false, it's a 16 bit 0. So all you need to care about is this -1. We have transferred it from a binary number to a decimal number. It is a decimal number here. For this binary number, this one, it's just a binary number. You can regard it as a decimal number, but no need to do that because it is only 1 bit. 1 bit only 0, 1, 0, 1 or 0. Just 2 conditions, right? And for 1 bit, you cannot transfer it to a decimal number based on the 2's complement because only 1 bit. So is it clear now? This one, because it's a 1 bit signal, so it's just a binary number 1. But for this 11111, we use 2's complement transfer to a decimal number, so it's -1. Any question now? So if there is no question, I think I will move on to the next ALU. And for this ALU, I hope you can give me answer a little quickly. Hope you totally understand that. Okay.
Oh, I have a question.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I still need to be confused about that. Why the vivid 0 can equal to the 16 bits 0. I mean, so many zeros.
Okay, so you mean, oh, sorry, I stopped sharing. No. So you mean you don't know why this 0 can equal to a 0?
Can equal to vivid 0. I mean, there is a mark like
vivid 0.
Yeah, like this.
You mean -0? No, 0, 0 is just 0. It's just 0, okay? -0 means, that means, you mean y2 equal to -0?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, because y1 equal to 0 and y2, yeah. So this 0 is a decimal 0. And you transfer it to this 16 bits. Why you transfer it to 16 bits? Because our ALU is a 16 bits. If it's 8, we just transfer to 8 bits.
Oh, you mean if it's 8 bits, I can transfer it to 8 zeros.
Yeah. If it is a 4 bit, you just transfer it to 4 bits. Okay. Based on this one.
How about the negative mark? So we just leave it.
Okay. Negative mark is negative every bit
Okay. Oh,
Wenhan, yes, you can like figure it out in this way. Negative is not, but when you say not, this one is not every bit, okay? Every bit.
okay.
Ernest, when we reverse 16.0 to 16.1, because I use the negative here, this symbol here is negative every bit. So that's why it become 11111 here.
Oh,
So we are moving to the next ALU. Okay,
okay. Thank you.
no worries. And because we are running out of time, and this one, I think I just need you to give me some answers very quickly. Let me open the chat box. Okay, input answer here. Tell me. Let's do it together. Just a very quick question to Wenhan. Okay, so yes, you mean this one? Maybe you can. I think in textbook, I don't know. Maybe there is no answer or no explanation for this one. Maybe there is. You can have a look at. But during your quiz, they will provide you the table. So don't worry about that. Okay, so they were equal to 1. How can I write here? Before you give me answer, I would like you, all of you, read about this one, about the note. And if ny equal this one, so y2, tell me. Y2, who can tell me y2? Be confident, Ernest. And so now f equals 0. So we choose this one, a little trickier. So tell me the answer for this specific. X and 2, right? X and 2. So what's the final answer for this one? I didn't see any 2. Also, any correct answer here? Still didn't see. Some ones get much closer, but can you simplify the answer? Yes. Cool. So I will explain it a little bit. Based on this question, or based on this condition, it means my x and 2. Just remember, if x and 2, it's always equal to itself. Let me take an example for you. For example, I'm using for bits. Just for bits, I just use it as a simple example. Okay, so maybe my x is for example, this is my x, and 2 is 1 1 1 1. So I use and them. And means and every bit. So it's 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. Okay? Think about it. If 0, 0, 1 and 0, 0, 0. Think about it. What's your final result? Yes, exactly. So this expression can be found in the lecture slides. I think maybe lecture 1 or lecture 3. You can have a check out. So for this one, what's my output? My output. Tell me my output. Yes. Because I just output this one. So for this ALU, my equation of that one, this ALU, just output X. Clear? Now, let's input some specific value here. So just it's related to X, not related to Y. So we don't need to care about Y as well, right? The equation is always care about X. So basically, this is a same condition. So if X then 2 equals to 2, okay, and my output equals to 2, right? Sorry, some Chinese words cannot, right? So my output equals to 2. Make sense? Now, there is no difficulty here, right? Give me some response. Because my ALU just output X, so now my X equals to 2. So my output is 2. Next, is there any question here? Okay. And because for our ZR, it's about is this output a negative, a 0? So now we need to transfer this 2 to a decimal number, like I said before. This is the output here, right? So it's a 6-bit 1. So it's a -1. Is -1 a 0? Is -1 a 0? No. And false and 0. But for this note, we can only write false here. So you put false here. And is a -1 a negative number? Yeah, I have already seen some correct answer. Yes. 2, 1. So you can only write 2 here. So we put 2 here. All right, so makes sense for all of the 2 ALU. You can take a picture for this. Yes, I would like to explain the next part about the how to calculate this choose complement things. Okay, so I will stop here in 10 minutes. If you would like to tell a picture, go ahead. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Now let's move to this part. So Tong, what happened? You haven't take a picture? Anyway, so let's move to this part. This part is similar to the question which you, what is your question, by the way? What is your question? I'm going to answer Yuan Chen's question here. And that's why I want to talk about this part a little bit. Because there are 2 minutes left, so I'm going to spend 5 minutes and want to explain this part a little bit and hope you can figure it out. Okay? Okay, so now for this part, you need to know what's the difference between choose complement and unsigned. Do you know any difference between that? Do you know any difference between that? No. Okay. So when we say unsigned, we signed with us. Yeah. So unsigned means there is no, actually, the number is from 0 to something. I don't know. So it means there is no negative number. There is no negative number. Okay. And signed, choose complement. Choose complement means signed. In this course, they are the same thing. They are the same thing. So it means I have some negative number and choose some positive number. We have the character to distinguish the negative number or positive number. But for the unsigned, there is no negative number. Make sense? And in our course, signed equals to choose complement because we use choose complement mechanism to represent our numbers. Okay? Yeah. So when talk about signed and unsigned, you need to figure out what's the range or what's the difference between them. And secondly, you need to think about the n bits. Sometimes it's a 16, but sometimes it's just a 8 or 4. So they're different. Let's say we have n bits. N bits here. Now I'm going to give you the formula of the range. And later I will talk about the Yuan Chen's question because it's also important for this part. For this part, when we talk about, let's say this is the first condition, this is the second condition, okay? So for the first condition, the range is 0 to 12 n minus 1. And to the condition 2, the range is negative 2 power of n minus 1 to 2 power of n minus 1 minus 1. Okay? both of them have two n elements in this range. Both of them have two n elements or two numbers in this range. But based on the unsigned or signed mechanism, you need to know what's the difference between the range. And now I'm going to stop here. You should Google it and have a look at especially two's complement to verify this formula I give you. Okay, you need to verify it. If you can verify it, you will totally understand it. Now, let's talk about the Yuancheng's question. So anyone who don't know the Yuancheng question, you can scroll a little bit up. Yeah, I will send it for all of you guys. And so no worries, because I know it's a little difficult to. So we are talking about 8 bits here. We are talking about the two's complement here. So I will change another color. Listen carefully, guys. It's very important for you guys. So which one, case 1 or case 2? Case 1 or case 2? Who said 1? Two's complement. Case 1 is unsigned. Case 2 is signed. Signed equals signed have the same meaning. Yeah. So let's talk about this one. And if you put 8 in this equation, in this range, I will tell you it's about this range. Okay? Any problem? So now, as the question says, it's 120 plus 8 is equals 128. So what happened here? What happened here? It just gave the wrong answer. What happened here is just my 128 cannot store here, yes, right? So we have an overflow. Yes, so I will this is my 8 and this is the largest one. So if it is overflow, below just 1. So I need to come back to 1. Then just because there is when I subtract these two numbers, I got 1. So I will come back to the smallest number. And my final answer is minus 128. Because it's overflow, so you need to come back for 1 increment. For 1 increment. So Yuancheng, Yuancheng. If it follows, we just use number to the minus line. Yes, Milo, yes. So if it is 129, it will become minus. Yes, I think so. I think so. So now you got the answer for this one, but I hope you can input some, it's binary number and verify it. Yes, because it's an overflow, so we need to come back here, okay? Yuancheng, if you say so, I think the equation is right, the formula is right, but you need to have a look at and verify it, okay? Because when I tell you something, I didn't expressing the quiz again, but for my view, I just like do it like this way. Any of you should verify by yourself, then you can totally understand the overflow things. Okay, so it's 6:09 p.m. So I would like to stop this workshop and good luck next week. Okay, and prepare your student ID card. If you don't have any student ID card, please prepare your passport or IDs, which is your IDs in your country. So any of this is just works for me. Yes. So this is on sign. This is signed. So have a look at this one on Google and verify the answers. N is just N bits. Okay, so I'm going to stop this workshop. Good luck and see you guys. Thank you.